Have you ever wondered why these systems really want us disconnected from our emotions, disconnected from how we feel, and how that impacts us specifically as sensitive, introverted Black women? If so, you're in the right place. My name is Marissa Price. I'm a healing practitioner. I am a freelance strategist for sensitive, introverted Black women reclaiming our power, coming back into our sacred gifts and healing, right? From past trauma, a lot of us have experienced a lot of traumatic events. Many of us have been targeted, specifically in toxic environments. And so, how can we come back into our sacredness, right? And really viewing our gifts from a standpoint of them being strengths instead of weaknesses, as they're often taught to us. So, if you're here live joining, thank you so much. Please say hello in the chat so we can say hello to you back. If you're watching on the replay, welcome. Please like this video if it resonates. Please comment below if anything sticks out, as we learn from each other in community. And please subscribe if you're interested in joining a community of sensitive, introverted. Often, a lot of my guests are introverts as well, which is kind of funny, but on a healing journey of reclaiming the parts of ourselves that people try to convince us like something was wrong with us, right? To hide, to contort ourselves, to try to pretend to be someone we're not. We're really coming back into our authenticity. And so this is day 3 of a 5-day series that I'm hosting on my YouTube channel as well as LinkedIn, really delving into some of the issues that we experience as sensitive Black women and how we can begin the journey towards healing, towards reclamation, to really come back into ourselves, especially during this time. Our gifts are needed and our gifts are there for a reason, right? So there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. And just being able to affirm that to yourself and also being in a safe community where we're doing that for each other can be a really powerful way to heal from past trauma. So welcome. Welcome to everyone who's joining. Hey, Debbie. Good morning from Sacramento. Good morning. Good to see you here. Serenity Rose. Hello, hello. Good morning. Yes, welcome. Okay, so let's get into why they want us disconnected. So understanding this, really sitting with this, has been so powerful in my own healing journey. Realizing that a lot of the times as I reflect on my past experiences, why I have been targeted, why I have felt like I stood out, why I couldn't fit in. And I have a video about this on my channel, right? I never fit in and I could not understand why. Because the society operates to literally disconnect us from what we're feeling. And so those of us who do feel, who do experience life deeply, because I've always been a very deep person, right? Even surrounded by other people who didn't really understand what I was feeling, thinking, the emotions I was experiencing, it can be a very isolating time to be sensitive, especially as we're growing up, right? As we're coming into the world, coming into ourselves. And so at this stage as an adult, really going back to those experiences that I had and understanding what was happening. The society was trying to disconnect me from the ability to feel because it represented a threat to the status quo. As we talked about day 1 and day 2, our sensitivity, our ability to feel is often viewed as such a huge, huge threat in a society that wants to keep up the lies, wants to keep up the oppression, right? The hierarchy that has been established. And so whenever you're able to feel that something is wrong with that and you voice, right? You voice it, you voice your emotions around it, be prepared, unfortunately, for people to push you out, to try to marginalize you, to try to silence you because you're shaking things up. And you don't have to be, right? You don't have to have a loud voice, but the fact that you're able to recognize something is off, someone is lying, someone is doing something that is not right, you're representing a threat to the system. And so even being able to externalize what you're experiencing can be very powerful as well. And I do want to mention I am offering one-on-one support as a social worker, as a healing practitioner for sensitive, introverted Black women healing from trauma. So I talk a lot about workplace trauma, educational, that's a whole topic. Educational trauma, our experiences in school systems, that have also tried to marginalize us, push us out, um, toxic environments, period. If you are healing from trauma, reclaiming your authentic self, trying to uncover who that is, I would love to work with you one-on-one. And here's a link to book a one-on-one breakthrough session with me, which will lead into a longer term program, healing program that I'm now offering. I have limited spots available for the summer. So please click this link, which is also in the description, to book time with me. I'm also hosting a special event this Sunday, June 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, called A Safe Place to Feel. Especially during these times, we really need this. So a healing circle for sensitive Black women. And it's pay what you can. And you can register here. It's scrolling on the screen, and also link in the chat as well if you'd like to participate. We would love to see you there. Link in the chat. Oh, good morning. I see. Okay, on the walk. Yes. My Marie, hello. Welcome. I love that. On my 10-minute walk. I love that. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Zane. Good to see you. As always, thank you for joining. Okay, currently in my MSW program, just put in my 2-week resignation at my nonprofit. Congratulations. That's huge. That is huge. Ooh. Congratulations. Yes. Um, that brings me back to being in my MSW program and all the peer connections I made, right? Being able to learn new things and integrate that knowledge. A special experience. So yes, that is wonderful. Yeah, it is beautiful. And let me actually, I think the link got cut off. So let me put that back in the chat. So you can register at this link, also in the description section if you're watching on YouTube. This Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Again, a healing circle, pay what you can, for sensitive Black women to feel in a safe place, because we have very, unfortunately, limited places that feel safe, often in this world, to tap into our gifts. To feel what we're feeling, to hold space for emotions, and to take the mask off that we have to put on so often. So I hope to see you there on Sunday if you're able to join. Zane says, congrats for leaving and moving forward towards better. Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yes, we are cheering you on. Okay, let me get into my notes. So let's talk about why the world benefits when we are disconnected from our intuition, from our emotions, and from each other as well. Right? So again, your sensitivity is not the problem. It's that your sensitivity threatens systems built on control, exploitation, and forced performance. Right? Again, something Glamazzini on her YouTube channel, Glamazzini Rushni Cope, talks about so often is the pressure to perform, to put on the mask, right? To put on felt like a suit. That's often not who we actually are, but something that we have to put on, a false identity to navigate such a harsh world so often. And it's recognizing, am I performing in this moment? And then asking yourself, do I want to? Right? And if not, knowing that you have the power and autonomy to go a different route. And understanding in some environments, right, putting these layers of protection on are necessary to guard the safe parts of ourselves from people who try to extract our power, who view emotions as weakness, right? And really being able to affirm to yourself and be in communities like this one that reflect back to you that is so sacred that you're still able to feel despite the pressure not to, despite the pressure to cut off every emotion, every feeling, every opinion that you have and just be okay with what anyone tells you to do, right? That's often the message that we receive. The fact that you have that flicker within you that is challenging that's special. Let me get to the comments. Thank you for joining. Welcome, Golden Gold. I love that name. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Control exploitation, enforced performance. Yes. Yes. Lola Sunshine, it's so good to see you. Yes, such a good topic, and you're speaking so eloquently about it. Thank you. It's wonderful to see you. I hope you're doing well. Yes. I do a lot of community work, and my coworker recently asked me, since you're so extroverted, how do you take care of yourself? Girl, I'm masking. I love people, but it makes me a bit anxious. Yeah. Ooh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And that's real, right? The different roles that we have in life, we may be performing so well. As I reflect back on my own experiences, right? Kind of having this feeling inside, like, is someone going to find me out at some point? Right? That this is not really who I am. I'm just putting a mask on every single day. And it gets exhausting internally, but because we are so used to performing, right? For social acceptance, for external validation, so often other people don't even recognize that we're performing because we're doing it so well. And so once you're able to recognize that for yourself, right? In this environment, I'm performing. In this moment, I'm putting on the mask to get through. But once I get out, I'm taking it off and I'm coming back to who I am authentically. I'm putting on the cartoons. I'm getting in my pajamas, right? There we are. Okay. Yes. Okay. Because when we are disconnected, and I think I'm back. I think I'm back. Yes. Because when we are disconnected, we are easier to gaslight. We are easier to overwork. We are easier to manipulate, to exploit, and to burn out. So, because when we are disconnected from our emotions, from our bodies, from how we're feeling in any given moment, we are easier to gaslight, we're easier to overwork, we are easier to manipulate, to exploit, and to burn out. Right? So, as we talked about in yesterday's video, the myth of being too sensitive and how that's rooted in anti Blackness, misogynoir. There were narratives early on, right, that painted Black women specifically as strong, as unfeeling, and self sacrificing. Not because any of this was true, we know that these are all lies, but because it served a system that needed our labor for it to exist, right? And it demanded our silence. We were praised so often for pushing through the pain that we were experiencing instead of listening to our bodies. And then we were often punished, either directly or indirectly, for being soft, for needing stillness, for connecting to spirit, to ancestors, right? To keep us grounded in whatever we were experiencing. And so we see the threads of this, again, throughout generations and how we're experiencing it today, present day in 2025. And it's important to recognize that this does not come from nowhere. This has been intentionally embedded in our psyches, right, to shape our self perception. And it's really that deep, right? Which is why, if you are a sensitive Black woman specifically, unlearning this can feel like a Herculean task. Like, where do I even begin to know who I am, authentically, to reclaim my voice? Because the roots are so deep. Because again, we have always been viewed as the ultimate threat to a system that, again, it demands our labor, along with our silence, for it to continue to exist. And so many of us are able to see right through that, which people don't want. Right? So, yes, you scroll through the comments. Yes, your good energy can be a threat. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yep. Ooh. I have to adapt, or they'll think I have an attitude. Ooh, I felt that. Yep. So the pressure to overperform, right? To counter these narratives, again, steeped in misogynoir, which is the specific hate and mistreatment towards Black women, specifically coined by Moya Bailey. To counter these narratives and these stereotypes, performing, overperforming, right? Being extra agreeable so that people don't think, right? There's no room for anyone to think in line with these stereotypes. And I think from my own experience, like sitting with the fact that even when I did do that, they still thought that, right? Which can be there can be a lot of grief around that. Because performing takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort to put on the mask, and then to see the end result still being, their views of me did not change. The stereotypes did not go away. They still viewed me in this way. Even when I tried to couch my opinion, right, in a tone, a softer tone, or something where I wasn't really feeling, but to package it in a way that was palatable, right? They still had those same stereotypes of me. And that has been something I've been sitting with, right? I don't really have an answer to that, but I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. Code switching. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, easier to gaslight, overwork, manipulate, burn out, and exploit. Yep. Yeah. Pavlovian training to be a mule. Yeah. Yeah. Praise for pushing through unhealthy mentally and physically, a form of reverse psychology. Yeah. I hadn't considered that. That's a really good point. Yeah. And we see how confusing these messages are. Thank you, Debbie. Yes. It's confusing. Praise for pushing through your emotions, your bodily sensations that we have as human beings, pushing past that and then being rewarded for it. You see how that kind of flips things upside down? Right? And so we begin to be rewarded for harming ourselves, really, for pushing ourselves past natural boundaries, for external validation, for, right, external rewards, all these things. Meanwhile, internally, we're breaking down. Our bodies are breaking down. And so it becomes like a conflict, right? Do I keep pushing myself, exhausting myself to get this praise for people to put me on a pedestal? Meanwhile, internally, my body's breaking down, my mental health is suffering. I'm experiencing things like insomnia, right? Overthinking constantly. And for a lot of us, right, that conflict, it comes to a boiling point where we have to make the decision, do I continue on this path? Or do I put myself first, right? And there's a word that just slipped my mind, but it was the perfect word for this. I hate when that happens. Kind of like a liberatory practice, right? So unapologetically. It's almost like a fork in the road that we come to. Do I continue seeking what they told me to seek, what everyone knows me for? Or do I make this bold pivot and decision to radically prioritize myself, my care, so that I feel good internally? Not just that it looks good on the outside, but do I feel good? Do I feel rested? Do I feel whole? Yeah. The tone policing and tap dancing. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Zane says that it's meant to destabilize us and keep us off kilter. No different than dating a man that is hot, cold. Yes. Forcing a trauma response of over performance. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I need to take a breath on that one. Ooh, yes. As you said, it is meant to destabilize us. Mm-hmm. It is. Because the mental energy that goes into trying to stabilize yourself, trying to make sense of things, it's a distraction tactic, right? Because now I don't have energy to pour into my hobbies, my interest, the things that make my life full. Now I'm worried about all of these external things that I have no control over. It's intentional. Yeah. Self-preservation first. That. Thank you, Debbie. Yes. Hey, Lori. Good to see you here. Welcome. Yes. How did you know? Yes, I am an INFP. Yes. Mm-hmm. Through and through. Yes. An INFP is a type on the Myers-Briggs personality test for those who don't know. But yes. Okay, so what disconnection can look like in daily life? So it can look like second guessing yourself constantly. And let me know in the chat if any of this resonates, or if you're watching on the replay in the comments. Numbing your feelings just to get through the day. Feeling anxious in stillness or silence. Trusting others' opinions over your own body's responses. I'll go over this again. How disconnection can look in everyday life. Second guessing yourself constantly. Numbing your feelings just to get through the day. Feeling anxious in stillness or silence. Trusting others' opinions over your own body's responses. Right? And so this can be a trauma response, being disconnected from your emotions, from your feelings. And again, going back through generations, something I'll be talking more about, healing generational trauma. And there's so many avenues to go down, right? But how could this have been passed down generation to generation to generation as a survival strategy? And so true healing can begin when we understand that we were never broken. We were adapting, again, throughout generations. We were never broken, and our emotions didn't go anywhere. We were adapting to survive. Harsh, toxic environments, right, that did not see us as human being capable of having emotions, even. Right? But now you are allowed to do more than survive, even as a way of healing your lineage, which I'm viewing this really at this point in my life. Healing your lineage, it's really that serious. You're allowed to come home to your body, to your truth, to yourself. And you have the power to do that. You can tell. Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Yes, I am very, very much an INFP. Yes. Um, let's get into the reminders. Affirmations to carry forward as we wind down for today. Right? So your intuition is sacred. Your intuition is sacred. Your sensitivity is your inner compass. Not something to view as weakness, something you have to hide, conceal, suppress, because those of us who are sensitive know that that's not actually possible to suppress it, right? You have to move with it. Suppressing it can actually cause disturbances in the body, physically, mentally, because you were specifically chosen for this gift of sensitivity. And viewing in that lens can do a lot to heal past parts of ourselves too. You don't need to prove, you don't need to perform, you don't need to pretend. You're allowed to just know, as a lot of us do. You're allowed to trust yourself. You are allowed to feel your way forward, not just think your way through, right? Logic does not have to be the end all be all. You can feel your way through. You don't have to seek clarity externally anymore. You can come within. And ultimately, you can come back home to yourself. So again, if you are watching on the replay, please comment below if anything resonated with you as we learn in community. Please subscribe to my channel, Marissa Price Heals, on YouTube. This is also being broadcast on my LinkedIn page, Marissa Price MSW on LinkedIn. I'm holding a healing circle this Sunday, which is scrolling on the screen, for sensitive Black women. If you just need a space to express emotions, even to yourself, you do not have to be on camera. You do not have to talk. Join us. It's pay what you can. This Sunday, June 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And I'm also offering one-on-one healing support. If you are recovering from trauma, workplace trauma, educational trauma in your family system that really told you that something was wrong with you, and having to unlearn these messages, sort through, remove the cobwebs, and come back to your authentic self to begin to chart your path forward, which you get to determine. I would love to work with you. The link is here on the screen, mpricemsw.card with 2 R's.co to book your intro session, which will lead into a longer healing program that I've created. And it's also in the description section as well. But yes, I want to thank y'all so much for being here. If you like this video, please like it so that's shared with other sensitive Black women who are healing, reclaiming these parts of ourselves as we journey forward, right? During these these times that are very, very chaotic, very unpredictable, and reestablishing a rooting within ourselves that, again, we were chosen to have the gift to feel. And the fact that you've been able to hold on to that throughout the trauma you may have experienced, the environments that told you that something's wrong with you, the people who try to push you aside, is no small feat. And so sitting with the fact that you are incredibly special is so important for healing. Thank you. Yes. Oh, thank you so much for this. I appreciate this. The whole video resonated. Thank you for this feedback. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for everything that y'all shared in the live chat as well. And I look forward to joining you tomorrow, which will be at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern, as we cover another topic around being sensitive, being introverted, healing, the process of reclamation that a lot of us are on. So yes, please join us for that tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, on my YouTube channel, as well as my LinkedIn page. And until then, thank y'all so much for joining. Bye.